All right, welcome back, everybody. I am very excited to bring on our next guest of the evening. Let's introduce to you Miss Gina Shock from the Go-Gos. How are you doing, Gina?
I'm great, April. Just hanging in there, man. I'm having a snowy East Coast experience, which I am absolutely loving.
Really? How much snow is there right
Yeah, I
now?
mean, well, I don't know, but it snowed for all night and part of the day, and I just love it how snow makes an entire city just quiet.
Yeah.
Everybody stays home. Nobody's out on the street. There's no kind of carryings on. There's less, actually, there's statistics that show there's less crime when there's a snowstorm because people stay indoors.
Right.
And,
It's too much work to stay warm.
yeah, it's freezing. So I was just thinking that last night as I was watching the snow accumulate and just, man, I'm here in my house in Baltimore, the house I grew up in, and there couldn't be any other better feeling than to have the snow coming down, which reminds me of being a kid here, going sleigh riding with my mom and my brother and my cousins and my friends in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful feeling, and the snow was so gorgeous, And
That's so
I'm thinking
awesome.
about we're when I get done with this, I think we're going to we have to drop off our rent a car, but then I got a car here, and we're going to go to a couple hills and do a little sleigh riding tonight.
Heck yeah, man. You need to put like one of those
Yeah.
GoPros on your head or something and do some video
I
for
don't
us.
have one, but I think Wendell can figure something out because he's pretty crafty with that sort of stuff. He's good with
He'll
that.
like strap a phone to your head, I bet.
He'll
He'll put
strap
this
a phone
together.
to his head, but not mine. But he's good with that sort of stuff.
Well, girl, thank you so
Gonna go
much for
sleigh riding and GoPro in it. Yeah.
thanks so much for joining. And I want to first thank you, Gina, for being a part of Drumathon 2023. It was so fun having you here,
Oh
and we
gosh.
really, really appreciate it. We know that helped draw in a lot more funds for our cause, and we're just very, very grateful. So thank you so much for doing
You
that.
know, any way that I can help, April, I want to be there for you and for this cause, for what you're about and what you've been through. I mean, I had heart surgery. I get how that works, and how it just can completely. I mean, your life. You think your life is over in a minute, and then you pray that you'll make it through all that you have to go through to get better.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm very blessed because it all worked out for me. I did all the right things. I mean, I my heart issue was congenital, and it wasn't about lifestyle or anything like that. Irregardless, it's a tough road, and it's really nice to have support around you and people that understand what you go through during that period of time because your emotions are just from 0 to 100 you know in the course of a day.
Oh
It's
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's
It's very scary, and I mean, it's like
yeah.
yeah, you feel like you're gonna die, and finding support during that time is so important. So yeah, I'm
It's
happy
nice
for.
that if you I mean, fortunately I had my mom and dad, my family were still here when that happened to me, but oh god, it was heavy. It was really heavy. I mean, I just remember the first time when I tried to bathe after having that surgery, and my mom was in the shower just sort of holding me up because they for me years ago they don't even do the surgery that they did on me. For me, they cut an 8 inch from the top of my sternum to the bottom, cracked it open,
Wow.
and did what needed to be done to my heart, and then put it back together with little twisty ties, and then sewed up the flesh. And
Right?
anyway, so my mom, oh God, my parents were such angels. My mom held me up in the shower while I cried and while I thought my chest was going to just burst open. Um, it was
That's
so scary,
very,
so
very
scary.
sweet mother that you had there.
Oh
Very
my
sweet.
God.
Yeah.
She was there with me the night I went in, and she stayed in the hospital in my hospital room all night with me until I
Yeah.
went into surgery the next morning, and then
Yeah.
dad came at that point. But mom said my eyes looked real big. I just kept staring at everything. She was just laying there trying not to explode with tears, but she kept it together
You
for
know,
me.
that's a really good segue into the fact that we talked last night about how blessed we were to have great parents in the profession that we have of drumming as a female. I mean, it's just not something a lot of parents get behind you on. And from a very young age,
Right.
sounds like you had that support, right?
It's not traditionally. It's not what most folks expect, but um My parents, I think, were always about with me whatever's going to make you happy, what makes you happy, and also that whatever you believe, you can achieve. And my mom and dad always, drilled that in my head. They were always like, Gina, if you believe it, you can achieve it. You can always do whatever you believe. You just gotta keep focused and work hard, and it'll happen for you. And that's my mantra. It's like, I've always been work hard, live, work. Everything will work out if you do the right things. It's all about it's all about staying focused, having really good supportive people around you, and because they will help keep you healthy. You know, they keep your mind straight. You can only do so much as an individual, but when you have the right support around you, oh God, what a difference! What a difference
Yeah,
it
that
makes.
keeps you emotionally healthy, which makes you physically
Oh
healthy.
yeah,
Yeah, totally.
exactly. If you're emotionally not together, you're screwed, man.
Yep.
You're done for. It's all about your head. It's like when anybody ever asks me about, how I feel emotionally about this or that, it's like first I just have to stop and look at things and like, how does this look? What's the picture here? That's how it's going to affect me emotionally. What am I seeing? What am I experiencing? Well, I've got to deal with that, and I got to figure out how to do it in a healthy way. And that's the hard that's the hard part of everything that anybody goes through in their life.
Yeah, so true. So true. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk with you about today, Gina, was everybody's always curious as a woman how you first get involved in drumming and like what drew you to
Oh
drumming.
boy.
So how old were you? And tell us how drums came into your life.
I've told the story many times, and I'll tell it a million more times because it's what it is. I My first concert was Led Zeppelin opening for the Who, which I write about in my book, which is called Made in Hollywood. I encourage anyone who hasn't got it to get it because it's really a great story of the band and of someone who came from a very blue collar neighborhood and had a dream, and it happened for me. I worked hard, had kept my eyes on the prize, but anyway, that's another story. Um, now I totally got off what I'm thinking about. What did you ask me? I totally
How
went
did
in
you
another
first
direction.
how did you first get into
Yes,
drumming and how did you
right,
first fall
got it,
in love with
got it.
drums? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Sorry. My mom and dad encouraged me. Well, they knew I was drawn to music because mom and dad were music lovers. There was music in our house all the time. They were always dancing. They were always singing. They were always going with their friends on the weekends to nightclubs to go dancing. So cool. And they encouraged me to do. They told me whatever I believe in, I could achieve. So music spoke to me. At a very young age. And when I went to see Led Zeppelin opening for the Who at the age of 11, my brother took me.
I mean,
That
there's not
that
a lot
was
of people
that
that could say they saw that. That's amazing.
no, that was a one time only, which I didn't realize until maybe about a year ago. That was the
Wow.
one and only time that Zeppelin opened for the Who. That never happened ever again.
Wow.
That's
That's
wild.
crazy.
Three
Yeah, yeah.
fifty, 350 for the ticket. April
Oh my
350.
gosh.
Anyway,
Crazy.
so I that happened to me, and then that sort of cemented it that I didn't really care what instrument I played or if I was just going to be a vocalist. I wanted to be up on that stage because it had such a visceral effect on me that I couldn't walk away from that not completely into it 100% and wanting to be one of those people. So then I just worked on what instrument I'm going to play. I'm going to be a singer, play bass, play guitar, play drums. I went through everything, and finally I wound up on the drums because that was the easiest thing for me to play. It
Well,
was
I
really
don't think
natural, really
yeah,
easy.
I don't think everybody would say that too because I mean, drumming
Yeah,
takes a lot of coordination and for it to be easy for you is really cool. It's like it was your calling, you know?
it was my calling, and it was, it's just my experience. It's different for everyone, but truly it was when because the way I learned to play any instrument, um I did take guitar lessons for a minute, but I would come home and I put headphones on and I'd play all my favorite songs, whatever my favorite songs were, my favorite LP, whatever. I put headphones on and I'd play guitar or play bass with it or play drums. When I put the headphones on and tried to play drums to songs, I didn't have to think. I knew that was my calling because it was so easy. It was flowing out of me and
Wow.
down into the sticks and to the drums, and it was very easy. And so I knew that's what I wanted to be
And
doing. If I was going to be up on that stage, that would be the easiest way for me to get there.
yeah, and how old were you when that happened?
I was 13.
Wow. Wow. So did you
When I
start
knew, I was
yeah,
11 when my first concert, but when I actually really knew for sure, I was 13.
right. And did you start taking drum lessons, like private lessons
I've
or
never taken a drum lesson in my life, which I
really?
wish I would have. Yeah, it probably would save me from having, from having, I don't know, my hands are kind of messed up, my shoulders are a bit messed up and all. Look, I wouldn't trade it for a minute. Let me tell you what, I would, my life has been a dream come true, and I wouldn't trade any of it. I'm just super grateful, and I don't know. I worked hard, but you got to be kind of lucky too. You can work as much as you want. I know so many really gifted musicians, and they're struggling still, and it breaks my heart because there's a lot of talented people out there. But there's something about taking your talent and pushing it forward, and and I say it has to come from you, but it's really kind of important to have the right people around you. That makes the biggest difference, I think.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That makes a lot of sense too, you know? That's really good.
And my everything for me is from the heart, actually. I've never done anything strictly for money. It's not who I'm about. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what was the first band you got in? Like, did you start like a band with some friends when you were that age?
No, because like in my neighborhood, first of all, I grew up in a neighborhood where there were no girls. It was all guys. So I was a tomboy. I'd run around with the boys on bicycles and busting windows out, all that kind of goofy stuff that kids do.
Yeah.
And on construction sites, throwing rocks and stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there
And
you
we'd
go.
be out and out back and throw rocks and hit each other in the head, and all kind of goofy stuff. Um, anyway, I forgot where I was going, of course.
No, I
Once
was
again,
asking if you started a band with anybody around that
oh
age. You
yes,
said it
sorry,
was
sorry,
mostly
sorry.
yeah.
No, there's so many things are flying through my head, April. You bring back so
That's
much.
that's all right. That's
Um,
all right.
but yeah, bands. As far as that goes, no, there were no bands around here that um, were that interested in me because I was young. I was 13 and I was ready to start playing. That first year that I got my drums, I was like a maniac. And so I did look around, like I'd go into music stores and see who's looking for a drummer. And I played in a couple bands here in Baltimore, all guy bands, and I was the girl drummer. And I guess they hired me because I would go in for an audition and I could actually kind of play. I wasn't that
Yeah.
bad. And then when I finally got into the band I was looking for was when I was much older, and that was the band Scratch and Sniff, which was Baltimore's first new wave punk band.
Oh, cool.
And I just had dinner with my guitar player George Candelas.
Oh,
He
cool.
was
Were you the only girl in this band as well?
oh yeah, it
Yeah.
was me. George played guitar, um, Chuck played bass, and Danny Brown was the singer. And yeah, we had quite an eclectic set that we played. Anything from Eno to Aerosmith.
Very
Yeah,
cool. Very cool. And
interesting
so
stuff.
so that was late like later how old were you when that happened?
Oh, at that point I was about, let's see, 16.
16? And then did you guys like play out in gigs and parties and stuff like that or
Yes,
yeah?
yes, we did some shows. But like our big event was when we played here at the Marble Bar, which had quite a history. Like Frank Sinatra played there. I mean, it was quite the place to play. And like the Talking Heads had played there. This is in the 80s or late 70s, sorry. And there were like the new wave punk bands were playing there, and we got like our first really big gig was there, and it was very
Wow.
exciting to play.
Did you
We
guys
did
Oh,
four sets,
wow. 4.
two of two sets of covers and two of
The
originals.
originals. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you don't hear about that anymore. I remember we used to do covers
No,
and original mix before, but now you don't do more than like 3 sets. 4 sets is a long night, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then back then you had to bring all your own gear, but you had to bring the PA too.
Yep. That's crazy. Yeah. I feel
Did
you.
you have to do
Wow.
that, April? Because we had to
Yes,
bring the
I've
PA.
I've had to bring a PA before many times, and even nowadays we hire teams to bring a PA, but a lot of
Yeah.
venues still don't have the PAs. But I did bring the PA. I still have my PA. It's really just giant paperweights in the garage now, because they're the old like not powered stuff. The old cabinets.
Yes, I know. I had those big old
Yeah.
cabinets.
Yes, I have them. I don't even know
I
why. They're
got rid of mine
shelves.
years ago.
Well, maybe you need to
Yes,
talk
I
to me
know. They
about.
weigh a ton.
You gotta talk me into getting rid of mine. I don't know why I have it.
I got rid my Fortunately, I knew somebody that wanted them or needed them for something, I was like, yeah, go ahead,
I just need to
please.
mark them as vintage now and then sell them for a lot more because they're vintage.
I know. You wonder if people like get what it's about and how cool it is to have vintage stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
totally.
I do.
Yeah. All right. So Scratch and Sniff was the band. You were 16. You guys gigged a lot. You did originals. You
No,
did
and
covers.
Scratch and Sniff. Wait a minute. Scratch and Sniff. We rehearsed a lot. Maybe how old was I? Let's see. Let me think about that. I was 20, 21. No, I might have been about 18, maybe 17 or 18. Oh, 18 maybe. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So just getting out of high school.
I was out of. I was. Let me see. Was I out? Yes, I was out of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the next group you got in after that? So this was like a new wave punk band, Scratch and Sniff was. And then after that,
I was in a band called Edie and the Eggs, and that was Edith Massey, and she was the star of John Waters films. And I would see Edie all the time in Fells Point. She had, it was called Edith's Shopping Bag, and she had this thrift store on Broadway, and she would sit at the front of the door, the front of the store, behind her cash register, and with her cat Lovey sitting there, and her servant Jeannie, who was kind of crazy. She looked like the wild witch of the West. And it was quite the scene in there. And she was just the sweetest lady you ever want to meet. And I would always go visit Edie because I just adored her. And we'd sit and talk a lot. And then one day I went and she said, "Oh, Gina, I'm going to put together a punk rock band. And, we have shows in New York." But anyway, I was like, "Yes, Edie, I want to be in the band. When do we start? Let's do it. I'm up for it."
Yeah.
And so I joined Edie's band, and the two other girls, we put it together. It was three of us, three girls, and we played in LA, San Francisco, New York, and Philly. And how exciting to be playing. Like in New York, we played at Max's Kansas City. Okay. We played in LA at the Newark Theater, which was this really cool theater house that played really odd, interesting European films, which are all cool, of course. Then we played in San Francisco at the what the heck was the name of the place we played in San Francisco? Hell's Bells. I can't think of it right now, but it was all one incredible experience. That I met so many folks, I made a lot of connections, and I thought, like, I'm going to go back home, and this is it. This is what I want to do. Now I'm going to make my move, because I have connections, and
nice.
I can go. Yeah, I knew in my heart I love New York, but it was too hard, too expensive. I knew that, and I loved San Francisco, too expensive. LA, I knew was going to be the place because I could afford living there. So I stayed home for a year, saved up my money, and then a year later, I drove to California with my friend Babs in my dad's pickup truck, and I went out there seeking fame and fortune. And I knew three people out there, and
Warfield.
Oh, we played at the Warfield. Thank you. There was the Warfield in San Francisco, which is still there in a cool place.
18 for
Excuse me? What did he say?
You were 18 for Scratch and Sniff.
I was 18 when I was in Scratch and Sniff, was what I thought. Anyway, we got a fact checker. We have a fact checker.
You have your own
in the house.
your own personal historian.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, what a story. What an incredible thing to happen to me at that age. I was looking for the right vehicle to get me out of Baltimore, because I really 100% believed that I had to go elsewhere to make it in the business. And God, that's all I wanted. I just wanted to be up on that stage, because the effect that had on me, sitting in the seat watching these people up on stage, was like, it was godlike. It was so big. It knocked me out. And I just thought, if I can do that, wow, that's what it's all about.
And it sounds like it was as great as you had ever imagined, and you were happy once you did get that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I always think in these situations, it's the gratitude that makes you realize, how blessed you are, you know? You're able to have that
Oh,
perspective
yeah.
and realize that, hey, not everybody gets this, and you really were blessed to have that opportunity. So
Oh my
at what
God.
point did you meet the girls in the Go-Gos and that all started happening? Was there other groups between
Um,
Scratch and Sniff
when
and Edie?
no, there was Scratch and Sniff, and then Edie's band, and then that
Uh-huh.
was it, man. I came back here, saved my money up for a year, and then I left.
Uh-huh.
I was 21, turning 22 when I drove to LA. And I got there. I stayed with my friend Steve, who promoted the show with Edie when I was there the year prior, and he told me I could, stay with him, and me, Babs, and I stayed there. And he was like, Gina, you know what? There's this band, the Go-Gos. You need to get in that band and kick the drummer out and make them famous. Those were Steve's, you know, that's what Steve would always say to me over and over. So anyway, Steve's brother Doug had a party. He lived in Santa Monica, and he had a party, and Belinda, Jane, and Margot, the original bass player, were at that party. I mean, it was a very small scene back then. Everybody that was in, the punk scene knew each other. You could go to 3 shows a night. You go to one at 7, one at 9, and one at 10, or one at 12 o'clock at night. It was happening, and we all knew each other. We all rehearsed at the Mask. It was a very inclusive scene. We were all rooting for each other. Anyway, so I met them at Doug's party, and they said, "Oh, we're looking for a drummer," and I said, "Yeah, I'm looking to get in a band." Well, honestly, at the time, I was already in a band. I was in 2 bands, but it wasn't what I knew. They weren't where I wanted to be. I was still looking. I hadn't found my place. And I'd seen them play before I joined the band, and I thought these girls are great. They just need a little bit of, they need to tighten it up and pay attention more.
They
They
needed some Gina. Come on.
they no, but they I feel they were just like wild and woolly and didn't know what they were doing or where they were going, or just having fun. But I really saw something magical about the girls, and they taught me immediately how to have fun on stage, because I was always so serious, and they were having so much fun interacting with the crowd. I was like, boy, do I need that in what I'm doing, because I'm way too serious. And they sort of injected that into my thinking, and it was good. I needed it. And when so they came over the house, and we did a couple songs, and we all immediately was like, oh wow, this is a great fit. Oh, this really works well. We all knew it right away. After the first couple songs, it was a perfect fit. And then I just, the next day I quit the bands. I was in 2 bands. I quit them, and they fired their drummer. And then we got on a rehearsal schedule that actually made sense if you were really thinking about doing something with your band. We started rehearsing 5 days a week. After work, you go to rehearsal. It
Wow, that's a
changed a
tough
lot.
schedule. Yeah, that's a rough schedule,
Yeah,
man.
but no, you got to do that. Come on. You got to work, let's face it, but then you got to put your time in.
Yeah. But working during the day and then rehearsing 5 nights a week.
But you know what? Yeah. When you're of that age, and you have so much energy, and you're doing something that you love, that you're passionate about. And when you are that way, you will find the energy to make it happen, And we all did. We were in love with what we were doing and crazy about each other.
So awesome. I mean, it's so cool to get with a group of people that you like, that you have fun with, and then there's that chemistry.
We had so
too.
much in common, April. We all had, we all had the same politics. We were all poor as could be. We were all eating at Taco Bell, the vegetarian menu at Taco Bell. I mean, it was sad, but it was, the love of what we were doing was so much stronger and bigger.
So at what point, like, what was your quote big break? Did you have a moment where you were like, oh my God, it's our big break?
I can't say there was any one moment. I know that we did a lot leading up to whatever that might have been, getting a record deal, but there was a lot of, it was, it might seem fast, but it was a lot of work. Oh my God, we just played and played and played. And whenever it seemed the worst or the toughest, we forged ahead. We're like, screw them. We're going to just keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing. You think we're just an all-girl band? Well, let us show you what an all-girl band can do. That write their own material, that play their own instruments. That, it wasn't a big deal to us to do what we were doing, because we loved it. It was who we were. But, to the outside world, we're like, wow, I guess they're not used to those, the women playing on their own record. They bring in studio players. Not with us, man.
Yeah.
We did it all. It was all together in our band.
Wow. I mean, you're right. And
And
that was like you guys were like pioneers,
I know, and we never felt like it or thought that we never felt or thought we were pioneers. We were just doing what we loved, and we all contributed what we did, and we'd all put our thoughts together when we were arranging songs, and then that became the sound of the Go-Gos. How Jane plays guitar, how Charlotte plays guitar, how Kathy plays bass, and Belinda sings, and the drum parts I come up with. That is the Go-Go sound, the Go-Go style, and that can never happen any place other than in a room with the five of us.
You guys ever play at all together anymore? See each other at all anymore?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. It's just been kind of sucks lately, but that's what I mean. We've been together for over 40. Well, it's 40
Yeah.
some years,
Right.
April. Okay.
Right.
So during that time, you have, we're in it's a family. And I said, it's just a road, and it's up the peaks and the valleys and all that, as in any relationship, of that many years. And, the last couple of years we haven't been working, but 2 years ago, whatever, the band, I wasn't able to play because I'd had surgery on my thumb, but we did like a month's worth of shows. And actually, February 6th and 7th, I think we're being inducted into the California Hall of Fame.
Oh, very cool.
So we're gonna do a couple songs.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
And that'll be fun. And we're gonna sit down and we'll talk and see what's what. Because Belinda's been busy doing her solo career. She's been doing shows. I've been busy with my book and my photography and my band House of Shock. I've and dealing with renovating my parents' homes. I've been quite busy doing what I'm doing. But I think for all of us, the Go-Go's is always at the heart of who we are. So we'll see. I don't know.
Well,
I love the band, and I love playing. To play in the band is just so easy.
yeah. It's just the
It's like
chemistry is
putting on
totally there. Yeah.
It's
Riding a
like
bike.
riding a bike.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
That's totally cool. So how was it getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh my God. Before it happened, I was kind of like, screw it, I don't care. It's no biggie. When it happened, I could barely speak. um, you're in a rarefied group of folks, um, um, hanging out, talking with Paul McCartney or Questlove, or I mean, you name it. What a night that was! Hanging out with our buddies who are the Foo Fighters and so many other people. I could just go on and on. And Brandy Carlisle. It was great. I had a great night. And as far as we did 3 songs, I was on such an adrenaline high. I can barely remember any of it. I don't remember playing those 3 songs, but I know I did a good job. I know that. But I thought I was just going to explode. I couldn't believe what was happening. It was like, you don't think it's such a big deal, but when it actually happens to you, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah,
Say
it's
what
gotta
you will,
be.
but when you're holding that statuette, um, that says, Gina Shock, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, 2021. It's like, Jesus, it's kind of like the Lifetime Achievement Award and the Academy Awards. That's what I liken it to. I'm proud to have that. I'm proud to be a part of that community. And now
Well,
this California Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that's going to be interesting.
yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. Well, I just looked at the time. We only have a few more minutes left, and I have some questions
Sure,
that I want
sure,
to
sure,
make sure
sure.
we get to. So
Yes, yes.
somebody asked earlier, in your teen years, this is from Jennifer, who's a breast cancer survivor. Go Jennifer.
Yes.
In your teen
Hey.
years, what one album was it that you wore out playing constantly?
Oh my God, honey, we'd have to sit here for hours because it wasn't one. There were so many. There were so many. I was really in love with the British rock invasion. I was really big into that. But and as much as I say that, I loved Leonard Skinner and I loved Neil Young, and I loved Lou Reed and I loved David Bowie went without saying. But I guess you could say that Bowie, I just wore his records out. He was like God to me. Bowie is God. Yeah, he was. I mean, wow. As a matter of fact, this past weekend I just did it was his birthday, and Philadelphia has this week in Philly does Bowie, and I just did the grand finale Saturday night. I did like 5 songs, and it was really great for David Bowie's birthday.
That's so cool.
That was fun.
Crazy.
But Bowie, I'd have to say, that's David Bowie's records. Many, not just one, I wore out all the time, over and over.
We got a question from Gary. He says, "Is Smile Pretty originally a Delphine song?"
No, Smile Pretty is a song that I wrote years ago, and I did do it in the Delphines for a little bit, but I always wanted to re-record that song because, if I was interested in working with somebody, I'd play them that song because it always just hit me, and I don't know, I always thought it was a really cool song. And so when I played it for some of for the guys in House of Shock, they were like, "We love this. Can we do another version?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it," because it's really hooky. It's got heavy guitar. I love that. So no, it was a Gina Shock song, and now it's a House of Shock song, and I'm going in tomorrow to do vocals on some new material. So I'm going to keep working anytime that I have open and any of the band members have open. I'll be back here in March, and we're going to be recording more and more material, and we're going to put stuff out until we hit the sweet spot. But I think if you just pay attention, we'll be putting more stuff out.
Very cool. Are you guys going to tour at all or come to Texas anytime?
Yes. This year I want to do shows with House of Shock. I decided that after doing the Bowie thing this weekend. I was like, you know what, Wendell, let's start talking to agents, because you know what I want to play live. I know the folks in my band want to play, and I just have to get my schedule straight so that we can do it in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Logistically for everyone. And I'm going to figure it out because I'm dying to get out there and play. Playing in front of people, you forget how great it is until you do it again. And then you go, wow, they're loving something that I love. It's really great. What a great feeling.
Oh, heck yeah. There's that energy between the stage and the audience that
you
can't
know
reproduce
it. You know
anywhere.
that feeling.
Crazy.
You know that feeling, right?
It's wonderful.
And there's nothing better. Nothing better.
Yeah.
It's so pure. It's very pure.
Yeah.
It's pure love.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're just in this big love bubble. Really.
I know it's kind of queer, but whatever.
It works.
Say what you like, folks.
That's
what?
Right.
It's a beautiful thing. You don't
That's
like
right.
it, get out.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
All right, we got Aquarius who's in the house. She's a breast cancer survivor and a drummer. She says, "You're awesome, Gina." She says, "You're awesome, Gina. We Got the Beat was one of the first songs I learned to sing and drum."
Okay. I love that. I never get tired of hearing someone say, that they learned to play drums from my drumming or anything. I mean, to me, what you've done is the reason that I do what I do. If I, thought I could impress someone enough to want to pick up drumsticks and learn to play drums, oh my God. It doesn't get any better than that. It just doesn't.
That's like the biggest compliment ever, really.
Yeah, but besides, I was going to say the self-satisfaction of me sitting down at a drum kit and just feeling that groove and that, oh man, it goes through your body. It's nothing like it's like a drug. And so, yes, I don't know. Now I'm getting lost again, but
no, it's all good. you got stuck in a love bubble, is what happened, Gina.
I did. Oh gosh. Sorry, guys. I'm home here, and I just went out with, like I said, with George and his wife from Scratch and Sniff, and we had a couple drinks, so I'm a little high, I'll say, but I have had such a great evening, and this is really topping it off because I'm getting a chance to do something else in my life that's important, that matters, and I'm so grateful to be a part of, and that's what you do, April. That's what you do.
Man, thank you
You
so
know,
much,
good
Gina.
for
Thank
you,
you.
darling.
Thank you.
Good for you.
You're such
We
a
all we
sweetheart. I
need more.
appreciate that.
We no, but you know what? We need more people like you. That's
Well,
all I can
thank
say.
you.
There
Thank
can't be
you.
enough Aprils in the world, and
Thanks so
everybody
much.
that's listening in or participating in this, don't ever lose hope. Don't ever lose hope.
Yep,
Never,
that's the
never,
biggest
never,
thing
never.
is hope for sure. Well, I just looked at
Yes,
the
and
clock.
it's all. I'm sorry, but let me just say one
Yeah,
thing as
go
we
ahead. No,
go.
please, please.
My friend Babs, who drove from Baltimore, we went to school together. Drove from Baltimore to to LA with me, right? And she moved up to San Francisco, and but we stayed in contact. Well, anyway, she's a dear friend. 6 years ago, she was diagnosed with cancer, lung cancer, then bone cancer, then brain cancer, then breast cancer. Her entire body. She's still alive. I'm going down to see her at her house in Rehoboth Beach next week, and it's been a hell of a road for her. But I'm just saying they told her 6 years ago, go home, just go home. There's not
Oh
much
my
we can't do
gosh.
for you. 6 years later, she's still battling, and I don't know what she's made of, but I swear to Christ, I wish the world had more people like her.
Yeah.
She's the bravest person I've ever met in my life. My little friend Babs from Catholic High. And, I just, what she's going through, she's saint like to me. I just can't get over that. So listen, I know, we all know how scary all this stuff is.
Yeah.
The cancer and, and anything to do with your heart. And yeah,
Your health.
it's all scary, guys, but you're not alone. You're not alone. I'm here to tell
Exactly.
you you're not. I've had my share, my friends still do, and it's out there. If you want help, you just go to your good friends or your family. It's important. It's all about believing that you can get better. How could
Right.
Babs be alive? They told her 6 years ago, go home.
Right.
You're out of hospice care. Go home. 6 years later, she's
Just
feeding
still
the ducks and
the
the
warrior.
raccoons and the squirrels and the deer. They're out back of her house in Rehoboth.
Right. I mean, you're right. The biggest takeaway is hope, man. Just having that hope is so important when you're going through any kind of emotional or physical struggle, either one, really,
You got to believe. You got to believe that you can get through it. I mean, that's all I can imagine. I don't know how she cries a lot. She told me last week she went in for a checkup and they gave her another really bad diagnosis. And she said she just came home and cried and cried and cried, and then she just picked herself up and went out and started doing some gardening. And God damn it, that's the way you have to be.
Really.
Man, she's something else. I need to get her on here, huh?
Yeah, right. It sounds like you do. Yeah, she sounds
Oh
very
my
inspirational.
God.
Very cool.
She's such an inspiration. I look up to her. I really think she's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, Babs. Anyway, that's my.
Well,
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. Thank you. I just noticed the time, and I want to make sure that we're aware of that and everything. And girl,
I know. I'm sorry, but you know what? We get started on things and we can talk forever.
I know
because this is the human thing to do, April. This is the human thing to do. Talk about it.
Exactly.
Let's talk about it.
It's the best thing for you too.
But yeah, it's good to vent about yourself and about people you care about. It's all important. It all means something to someone.
Yes. And thank you for sharing your story of your health battles and your story going through drumming as a female and getting through all that and the accolades that you so certainly deserve, getting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and now the one in California coming up here in February.
Yeah, who
knew
there was a California Hall of Fame?
I know, I did not know. I'm gonna need to watch for some live video of that.
Oh, Gavin Newsom will be putting, your medal around your neck. I was like, okay, cool. I like Gavin.
That'll be cool. That's awesome.
No, I love his politics. I'm a big Gavin Newsom fan.
Very cool.
Hey,
very cool.
So there you go. So keep going, baby. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you so much. You're so great. And I'm so, again, thankful for you to come to Drumathon last year. And we hope to have you out again sometime. And I hope to talk to you really soon, too.
We're gonna stay in contact and do some more stuff, April. Once again, I love you. I'm super grateful for what you do. And everybody out there, just hang on. Just hang on and have faith. That's all. That's all I can do.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Thank you
Thanks
so much. Love you, girl. Take care of
Right.
yourself.
Love y'all.
It's great chatting.
Thanks, baby. Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Everybody give it
Happy New Year.
up for Gina Shock, man. What a wonderful chat with her. So cool.